Hey guys, welcome out to Johnson Cast number 342, where we are talking about everything from 25 years ago. It's Nostalgia Center, and we are live here with Mike Lomax, Danny Carver, and Jordan Olson of the famed biggest band out of East Layton, Old Man Johnson. Welcome, guys.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, anytime. So tonight we're going to be listening to Smelly off of Life Saving Apparatus, our 2001 smash hit that we finally got loaded onto streaming platforms everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's on Amazon Music. It's on Tidal. It's on Twitch. It's on Beezer.
If you load up your iPods from 2004, you'll find Life Saving Apparatus right next to U2's album. It's auto loaded on your iPods.
That was tough to work out, but
So let's do it, guys. Let's listen to a little bit of Smelly. And I want to remind everybody that Old Man Johnson has a new song coming out here really soon. We're going to announce the name of the song, what it is. It's a never before heard song, a brand new release, original artwork that'll come with it, and we'll be announcing that. But first, let's listen to Smelly, which is about how stinky Ogden is. So, Danny, why don't you give a little bit of background on Smelly and how we came up with the lyrical content for this one?
yeah. So we were at a writing session at my old apartment in Ogden. We were writing some tunes, and in from the window comes wafting that delicious Ogden smell that everyone can relate to. At first you think it's French fries, but then you realize it's dog food.
Yeah.
And we thought, I don't like smelly things.
But yeah, I remember that writing session. We were writing something else. I remember we had just got together. We're like, hey, let's get together and let's write some music. And we were writing something totally different. And just the overwhelming smell of Ogden was taking us over. I remember that apartment. I don't know what the AC situation was.
There wasn't one.
I think the AC situation was the window.
Is this the one with the cork on the wall that we scraped off?
Yeah, that's the one. Mike helped me scrape all the cork off the wall.
On 9/11.
Cork.
Oh,
On
yeah,
9/11?
was it 9/11?
Wasn't it?
It was close to 9/11 if it wasn't 9/11.
Yeah.
You're like, we're under attack. Let's
Let's
decork
scrape
this
some
place.
cork.
We got to take some cork off of these walls.
We didn't know what to do. So what did we do?
We decorked the walls.
So yeah, so it's a song about Ogden and the dog food smell, which anyone who lives in Ogden is definitely going to be aware of that pungent odor. The song itself, though, is, I think, unique for Old Man Johnson. I think it's kind of its own sound. I don't remember us playing anything else like this one. Mike, do you remember a little bit about like where our headspace was musically at the time?
I don't. No, I mean, we were getting louder and louder with the inclusion of Wim into the band. That was part of it, and trying to make things work at a different level of volume than what we had done previously with Tomfoolery.
And I think this was one of the leftover songs that we were working on before Wim came into the band. So it did have a different sound than the rest
Was
of
it
the
originally acoustic?
We wrote most of our songs, I think, acoustic. At least at this time we did, because this was still coming off Conversation with Tomfoolery, and I think we were playing most things acoustically. So I bet you during the writing session it was done acoustically. tempo.
Did you have a 12 string that you wrote all of the tomfoolery stuff with?
I think you did on that Ovation 12 string.
Is that what that was? Was it 12
We
string?
may have written it on it, but I didn't use the Ovation 12 string on anything. Like, there's no 12 string recorded.
You used
Oh,
my dad's Martin.
Yeah, because we recorded it with the Martin. That's right.
But I probably did have the 12 string, and then that's what I was playing, but I wasn't recording. And I was playing with it live, and I was playing with it live through a distortion pedal. because what better sound are you going to get at the Jackson Street Junction than a 12-string Ovation acoustic to a Roland Blues Cube amp through a distortion pedal mic'd up for the Jackson Street Junction?
Only the best.
That's quality stuff.
This one was a lot different. I think at the time for me, Danny had introduced me to Fish. Like, when we wrote this, it would have probably been in 2000. And I had only been playing the guitar for 6 years at most at that time. Danny introduced me to the album Rift by Fish. And I think I hear a lot of that influence in this song, especially like during like the solo. Like I was telling you guys earlier, I didn't have the vocabulary for what I was doing, what I was hearing in like Trey Anastasio's playing in Fish. All I knew was it was like they were playing in and out of keys, that like things were moving chromatically, they were strange. So I think I was trying to implement that sound into my own playing at the time. I want to pull up like the bridge section, which includes the solo to this one. So yeah, that one, that's kind of like that solo sound that I was going for, and kind of playing those ninth chords throughout it, kind of spanky. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I think for me and my parts, I was trying to achieve that.
Hey, Danny, are you the sole vocalist on the "hey" part?
I can't remember. I think you did it too. I know I did it, but I think there's more than one voice right there.
Over and over, let's see. I think that's a group of us.
I don't know.
Because we
Me
didn't
and Jordan sound a lot alike.
Let's all say "hey" on the count of 3, and we'll see what the people think. 1, 2, 3. Hey!
Hey!
Way off time.
That didn't work with Zoom, did it?
Yeah, I doubt we did it separately because we only had 16 tracks on the Roland VS 1680 that we were recording on. So I doubt we recorded Danny 3 times on 3 different tracks of it, but I bet we all recorded it at the same time.
I think we all did it at the same time.
We did a lot of that back then.
About the lyric, this is one of those times where we talked about the band Fish and how they used to trade off, since they had a couple of different singers, and we decided that one person would write a line and the next guy would just write a line that rhymed with the first line, no matter what it was. And we would just keep it, and that's how we ended up with such horrible rhymes on this song.
Let's listen to the second verse. The second verse, I really like the lyrics in it. Let's go to that.
I like a child in your womb. I like the groove. I like the Protestant marquee. Instead of lot of I like the hair upon my chest. I like my bed. I like the fish the dentist held. I like myself, but I don't like.
So I think this one's funny because it's like bad line, good line, bad line, good line. I think the first line's kind of funny. It's like, I like the child in your womb. We rhymed it with, I like to groom.
And who's the child in? Why did we say the child in your womb? None of us were fathers at that point.
I like your baby before I knew your baby. That's a weird.
I like to groom.
Can you imagine? Maybe we actually, now that you put it in context, it's like, hey, I like your baby and I like to groom. I don't know how well those things go together. But the next line was hilarious. I like your Protestant marquee. It's got a lot of catchy slogans on it.
Yeah. And it doesn't rhyme or go or stay in time or anything. It's just telling you exactly the point of a Protestant marquee is that it's got a lot of catchy slogans on it.
I like the hair upon my chest. I like the hair upon my chest.
I can't
Not
remember.
somebody else's chest.
I like the hair
Somebody
upon your
else's?
chest.
Was it someone else's chest?
Got a lot of I like the hair upon my chest.
My chest.
Okay, good. That was close.
I like my vest, which
But I don't even think we wore vests back
I don't
then.
think any of us wore a vest ever. I like the Misfit Dentist Elf. I like
I
myself.
like myself.
Good
It's
stuff.
kind of positive. It's got a positive ending to it.
I
Right.
wonder if I like myself would have come from Fish as well, like the song Yem. You enjoy myself.
Maybe it was subconsciously added in.
Ripping off more Fish at the time, which is funny, like because it doesn't sound like a Fish tune, but
No.
but we were just like implementing some of those components into our playing. But I do think the lyrics on this one are pretty funny. They're strange, they're bizarre. Speaking of lyrics, I love like what was the decision to have Danny just wail over the bridge?
Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember recording that, and afterwards, I had the worst headache of my life, just like a singing headache, you know?
Was it that, or
Which-
was it? There was another one where you yelled, wasn't there? Or was that Wim? Wim did some yelling on.
He did some yelling on a few different songs too.
I mean, like some serious yelling.
But I remember trying to do that scream at the end where I'm just like, wah! And like tried to hold that out for a long time. We had to do it a bunch of times.
I bet I know why we did it. Because when we wrote the song, we only had the three members, right? And we played this song live. It really needs a solo. It needs a guitar solo or a solo of some instrument. But I had to play like I had to keep that rhythm going. So somebody needed a solo. So I think it was just a vocal line. Let's listen to that.
You know, he's got the part that he's doing before, and I bet it was like, well, we got to have something to end that vocal part with something, and that scream fits in quite nicely as an ending to the previous vocal part.
I think that's right. If we could find a live recording of us playing this song, I don't know if I ever did that in a live show. I think it might only be for
The album.
this album. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember you screaming on that one. We were probably trying to do it without having like an instrument take the solo. In this case, I think it's much more interesting to do something lyrically and vocally as opposed to just putting another guitar solo over the top of it.
Yeah.
It's our
I agree with that.
signature Muppet move.
Muppet
Yeah.
in the back.
What other songs have we done that in? So we've done it in the new one. We did it in this one.
Skinny
Did
dipping?
it. Skinny dipping.
Skinny dipping. What did we have in skinny dipping? I can't remember.
We have the Muppet vocals doing the horn part. Ba, ba, ba.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because we talked about having a horn section come in.
But we didn't
And
have any horns.
We didn't know anybody.
See, that's how creativity is born. Is like wanting to do something and then just doing what's available to you.
Yep.
Definitely. The end of this one, the bridge on this one's pretty cool. It kind of changes. It's instrumentation in the round as we're coming out of that section. I'm going to play it, and then maybe Mike can explain it. What were we doing? What were we thinking on that part, Mike?
Having listened to it a couple of times, is it a modulation to a different key that we do one instrument at a time?
I think we stay in the same key, but we're doing something rhythmically.
Well,
I
the
think
rhythm
it was-
changes a little bit too with the drums when it all comes together. But I think there's a melodic
Yeah, right here.
change. But listen to it one more time, and you can listen on each side. One guitar does the change to whatever that difference is, and then the other guitar, and then I think the bass, and then the drums finish it off by adjusting to the new rhythm.
Yeah, and then we all land back on
Could
the
be wrong.
main riff.
Could be wrong.
Let's listen.
Another idea stolen from Fish.
Oh,
We did all this cool stuff, and then we covered it up with that crazy screaming.
and called
I think
it
we were
our own.
influenced by a lot of different people back then. We were all listening to different people, Toadies and Weezer and Bare Naked Ladies, and all kinds of stuff at that time that we thought was hip and cool.
So, a conversation with Tom Foolery, definitely, our first album was definitely heavily influenced by Bare Naked Ladies. And then a lot of the songs on Life Saving Apparatus, like, especially like, I think like Should Rock, which we'll talk about on our next Johnson cast. I think like that one was definitely like the Toadies. Don't Ask Me was very Weezer-esque, but I don't know exactly what would have led us to this one. I mean, I would think the influence on this one for me was Rift by Fish, because I just don't know where these sounds would have come from at that time in 2000. And I remember Danny introduced me to that album, and probably all mixing in. And obviously, we're all playing together and we're bringing in everything. But Mike, I don't even know how to describe your drums on this one.
Which part?
Like the main beat on the verse. Hold on, I'm gonna play it real fast.
My toes and twinkling clothes. I like the satellite TV. So right with me. I like the tires on my car. They travel far, but I don't.
I think I was just trying to play the snare in a non-standard place, not on 2 and 4.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not a beat that you're bobbing your head to. Are you putting the kick 4 on the floor?
No, the kick is playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then the snare is also on an and. So instead of being on like on the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, they're playing on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2.
Is your hat on 2 and 4? The open hat, is that on 2 and 4?
Play it again.
All right, here it is.
On 3. Or every other.
I like the street. I like the love between my toes and twinkling clothes. I like my satellite TV.
It's on 1 and 3.
Okay.
Hi-hat's 1 and 3. The kick drum starts on 1, and then it's on an and then the snare drum is on 2 on the first one, and then it's on an and after that.
That first fill you do after the verse is insane. I don't know what it is, but it sounds
Going
really
into the
cool.
chorus.
Yeah,
It's classic Mike Lomax. Let's listen to that.
yeah, it is.
And twinkling clothes. I like the satellite TV. So right with me. I like the tires on my car. They travel far, but I don't like smelly.
That's classic Mike Lomax right there. What's cool about that beat, like, yeah, it's not a backbeat. Nothing is landing obviously on 2 and 4. It's like you're dancing around 2 and 4, but it grooves.
It's kind of like a weird disco beat. It's like a disjointed disco beat because you got the hi-hat opening and closing, right? But then the rest of it's kind of screwy.
Do you think you thought about it as you wrote that part, or do you think it just came out of you as you heard this part?
No idea.
I don't know. I don't know how you would purposely think to do all of that. I almost think it just came out of you or something.
I'm sure there was, trying to fill spaces in between bass and guitar, and then also trying to play more notes than I should have. It has something to do with it, I'm sure.
Mike Lomax, the 2025 version of Mike Lomax is the minimalist drummer, and
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
I'd use toothpicks and chopsticks now instead of regular drumsticks.
I love the 2000 version of Mike.
Yeah.
I like this song, Devil Music. This ain't Devil Music, like with that roll that you're doing. I mean, all that kind of stuff is fun. I think all those beats are fun, and I think I said it in our last Johnson cast. It just I think the drumming on these albums is really a massive part of what made them. I mean, I think a lot of people would think, oh, it's funny vocals and stuff like that, and I think like most people, yeah, they gravitate to that, but I don't think we could have done what we were doing without just some like super zany creative drumming on all of these.
I think it's the energy of youth is a big part of it, because I mean, as you talk to musicians who get older, especially drummers, you do play a lot less, and I don't know if it's maturity or just a lack of energy, but you play less notes as you get older.
Well, this is one of my favorite songs on Life Saving Apparatus. It probably is my favorite song on Life Saving Apparatus. Every time it comes up, I don't know if it's just so different. It comes in at like a double forte right off the bat. Like it just like shocks you when it comes on, when it skips to that track, and I love it. Recording this one was fun. We recorded this album in our basement studio, and we recorded it on the Roland VS 1680, which is the same unit that we recorded A Conversation with Tom Foolery on. But this is the first time that we had preamps. We never had preamps before, and we had good microphones. Mike had invested in a couple nice condenser microphones. And I remember talking about it because Mike and I talked a lot about the recording process because we were learning. I remember Mike had stacks of EQ Mix magazine or EQ magazine. And so like a lot of our conversation was just how to record because we were trying.
How many times didn't we try recording this album? About 3 different times?
You're thinking of
a different one.
You're thinking of A Conversation with Tom Foolery. We did that
one 3 times.
And I've listened back to the old versions. It's been years since I did, but the first 2 were so terrible and so far off of where we actually ended with that album. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we recorded A Conversation with Tom Foolery 3 times, and the third version sounds, I think, pretty good. I think it even holds up. Like there's some zaniness to the recording when you listen back on it, but I think they hold up. But then we were really excited for Life Saving Apparatus because we had some new equipment, preamps, new microphones, and I think we got a more crisp and kind of open sound as opposed to like a really narrow sound that we got on our first album. We recorded on the floor tom. We used a condenser vocal mic, a Shure 87. Is that what you said earlier?
Beta 87. Yeah.
Beta 87, which had a great sound. It was big on this one, but when we went to mix it, this whole album, Matt Weiniger was mixing it and Bruce Kirby, and like they were having the darndest time trying to mix this album because there was so much bleed coming in from all over the place, and there were phasing issues, I'm sure. And on that floor mic in particular, you were saying what they had to do with it?
Well, they wanted to completely turn it off and then only bump it up for the tom hits. And so he's like, tell me where the tom hits are. And I had no idea because I was just trying to hit everything. He's like, when do you hit the floor tom? I don't know. I have no idea when I hit the floor tom. And because he couldn't just look at the wave sign because everything was pouring through that microphone. So that's when he's like, where's the tom hits? Because they didn't stand out. Like everything just showed up as a big wave file.
Well, the other part about this album is we recorded on that VS 1680, and then we had to dump it down to DAT because you couldn't export the files on it. They were proprietary, and you couldn't unless you had another Roland VS 1680. So they wanted to mix on their console, so they dumped it all down to DAT. It wasn't in Pro Tools or anything like that, and then they were mixing on an analog mixing console with all their outboard gear, and we printed every song as we mixed them. So it was in our mixing session down at Boho Digitalia in Salt Lake. We were down there, and they were mixing each track on the mixing console, and then they would print it to DAT, and that was the mix.
Yeah, props to Matt Weiniger for getting it as good as he got it, because boy, we gave him a challenge.
Yeah, and then they would burn us a CD, and we would go sit out in Mike's car in his Grand Prix Pontiac Grand
Am.
Oh, Grand Am. Sorry, it's Grand Am. And we go out and listen to it, and so that's how we determined the mix on that one. It was an interesting process, but I think the album, there's a lot of good stuff on this one, on Life Saving Apparatus. Do you guys remember why we called it that in the first place? It was Mike. Mike's like, this album has to save us. The album itself was the Life Saving Apparatus that was going to launch us into stardom.
And it nearly did.
Still waiting. Maybe 2025 is the year that we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not over yet.
We're still alive, aren't we?
Who did the art on this one? Was it your brother?
I think so.
brother.
Yeah. Jeff did some of that stuff.
Where did he totally rip off this patented design?
The internet. We just were looking for stuff that didn't have a copyright, so old patents.
Oh, okay.
You know, is what that came from.
So someone
And that
even
thing
in-
was actually called the Life Saving Apparatus.
Yeah, I don't know if we found the
invention.
picture and then found the title to go with it,
Yeah.
or if we had
Probably.
the title and then we found that through a Google search or whatever.
Anyway, yeah, it was. This device, I think, wasn't it patented as a life-saving apparatus?
Yes, exactly.
Cover? And
I don't know what it was for. If you're falling out of a plane or something like that.
it looks like
that.
yeah, it looks like that. It looks like the device that could help you fly if needed.
Yeah.
Do you think it ever got tested?
It looks like it would make you sink like a rock in the sky.
Didn't the hat have springs, like a spring in it or something?
I don't know.
I thought I remembered that from the other schematic.
What
Should
is
have
it
a
made of?
contest.
Doesn't it look like it's made out of steel?
Well, back in the day, I bet it was made out of
Wood.
and some springs. Yeah.
So, like, look, can you guys see it on your screen?
Yeah.
So it looks like here on this first image, like this is the part that wraps around your chest.
Mhm.
But then, like, look, like he's got all these J2, J3, J4, and it's pointing to like the jacket. So was the jacket part of the wearable piece, or just
I
this?
don't know.
Chest?
Well,
And the
there's that
hat.
piece
I don't
in
think
the
the hat is a
background.
hat. I think it's part of the device. Like Danny
Is
was
that what
saying.
Figure 5 is? Looking down into it? Is that what this is?
Don't know.
I think that was just like picked out from the stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
But there's that thing in the background that's kind of like a watermark. I wonder if that's like a parachute type of thing.
Oh yeah, I have never noticed that there's a watermark on this. Is the text backwards? It looks like the watermark, and then the text is going backwards or something right there. I wonder if Jeff
make
turned it around.
You can't get the screen big enough to see.
It could be.
Well, interesting. Well, maybe one of these days it will be our life-saving apparatus. Maybe as people listen to Smelly, they will stream it so many times that Spotify will have to write us a massive check.
Smelly is going to take over Sloppy Joe for our top streamed song from Old Man Johnson.
Well, awesome, guys. Well, there is Smelly by Old Man Johnson. If you want to listen to the whole thing, go to any streaming platform now and stream Smelly as well as all the other songs off of Life Saving Apparatus. And if you didn't know, last year we released a conversation with Tom Foolery. As well, last year we released a new single, I'm a Sucker for Your Love. And we have a brand new Old Man Johnson song that will be coming out in the next couple weeks. No one's heard it before. Brand new tune that was recorded in 2011 that we finally mixed and we're getting ready to release. Guys, you have anything else to add?
No,
Are we going to tell them what it's called yet? Or are we saving that to be secret?
Let's make it a secret for at least one more Johnson cast.
you
Sounds
know
good to
that
me.
one of the Potters are going to spoil it, though.
Do they know?
Well, they're
They
the
might.
only people watching this.
Right. So,
Oh yeah, we got to mention this. This Johnson cast is sponsored by Sam Potter, known for his beard, respected for his mustache. That's Sam Potter, Samuel J. Potter.
Yeah.
immortalized in an Old Man Johnson t-shirt.
That's right. He is immortalized, and my wife still wears her OMJ. It's OMG with Sam Potter's
OMG,
face.
it's OMJ.
OMG, it's OMJ. That's right.
Oh, there we go.
Samuel.
Look at that. The man, the myth.
The
Right
man
there.
is. I love Sam Potter. My life is much more full with the stories and adventures I've had with Sam Potter.
Amen.
Me as well.
Hey guys, well, we're gonna run out of time, so we're gonna end this song with the end of Smelly, and then we're gonna cut this one loose. We'll see y'all next week for the next Johnson cast.
Bye.